guys, so this week what we're going to do is we're going to do one of the few things in this entire process that is not very hard. We are going to put on the rails on this pinball machine. And there's definitely there are a couple things where it doesn't really matter what order you go in, but there are definitely some things that does matter what order you go in. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. So the first thing you're going to need are glass channels. Don't forget to put your glass channels in before you put your rails on. That could be a big disaster. You also want to make sure that that this part of the glass channel is facing to the inside of the cabinet. This is where the glass obviously is going to slide along. So just make sure you put these things in right. There's definitely a difference between the wrong and the right way. So it's going to sit about like this. So it doesn't matter if you put this on first or the other thing, but we're going to start with this first, okay? So what I'm going to do is just place it in the groove on the machine. There, just like that. I've got it pretty much all the way up to the back. Hold on one sec. There's usually such a long pause but break between me doing these things, so yeah. Oh yeah, we're good. So put it all the way back. Might as well just do both of them while I'm at it here. No reason to do one at a time. So I'm putting it all the way back against the back here. That's where you want it. Make sure everything is flush up against. And if you want to do it like they did it in the factories, get the stapler out, put a couple staples in just to secure it in place. There we go, that one's secure. Make sure everything's nice and flat. Nothing came up. That's it right there. Then, that was easy, wasn't it? What we're gonna do, I get this from Pinball Life. Sorry, I'm sure Marco Specialties has it. I'm sure everybody has it. You could just honestly buy it at the hardware store. It's a double stick tape. This is what's going to hold your rails in place when you actually put them on there. And I've got brand new rails. As I always say, don't cheap out on these things. They've got a protective covering so they don't get scratched. I usually take those off somewhere near the end. Let's see here. So it's the same, it's like this on both sides. So there's not really a right and wrong way to do it. They're equal. There's that end and there's that end. They're definitely equal. One thing I would probably do here is I would take the original screw that goes in here and use that to make sure the placement is perfect. Like so. This goes in here, and if you've just put new decals on, feel around for the hole right here and then just push the screw through. It should be pretty obvious. So ultimately what you want to do is use the hole here, line it up with what you're using down here. That's what we kind of want there. Now the reason I'm doing it this way as well is I have to put the double-sided tape on there. There's two ways you could do it. You could either put it on the back of this, which would actually be a pretty safe way of doing it, or you could put it directly on the cabinet. For the sake of precision here, I just decided this now. I was going to do it the other way. I'm just going to go ahead and put it on the bottom of this. Then I'll know everything's lined up perfectly. Let's see. And remember, this has got a protective covering on it. I don't really run any risk of damaging it. I believe these are about 3 feet each. I cut them to length. I just kind of basically folded it in half and cut it. So this is too long. I'm going to line it up with the bottom here. It's not permanent if you accidentally make a mistake and you're like, I want to realign it, it's fine. You definitely want to make sure it's right before you put it on the cabinet then. So I'm looking on the back, I don't see any tape peeking through. Right now it's not double stick because I got to remove the layer here. Once I'm sure it's where I want it to be, I'm going to go ahead and press down just to secure everything. Cut off the end here. I think the way I ordered it was I ordered it for one machine, and I believe it's a little over 6 feet, but I guess you could probably buy it by the foot. It's whatever. I just let them figure that out for me. But for one machine, they give you a little extra. So all I have to do now is pull back the adhesive like this. Go ahead and line it up. Again, you have a little bit of leeway to begin with. I'm going to go ahead and put the screw right in there. Bam. Hold on. Just kind of lay it on top of the rail. Now, you see, I do have a little bit of leeway, so if it's not exactly how I want it right away, I can kind of move it around. Just tuck in the rail inside. And believe it or not, that's about all she wrote. It's a little snug where that screw is, but I'm going to go ahead and pound that out later. Actually, I could probably do that right now. Yeah, just double checking everything. Yeah, I will take care of that later. So likewise, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And cut off the excess. Actually, I'm going to need that screw now. I'm not sure where the other one is, unless I can find one here. Oh, I got one. Okay. Pull off the adhesive. Double check everything's done that needs to be done right now. We've got the glass, the guide rail for the glass in there, glass channel. Go ahead, take the adhesive off. Stick the screw in there. Oop, I do not have the hole for the screw. I'm going to feel around for it. There it is. Sometimes people have told me I've accidentally bonded over those things. I'm sorry for those of you watching this, so I've done that too. Whoops, I would say. My bad. All right, this is a little, not quite where I want it to be. Let me move it back just a little bit. A little bit of leeway here. And I think I'm pretty comfortable with that. I think. All right, the ultimate test is, that's literally all you got to do. Ultimately, when you're ready, just peel off the protective covering here. I'm going to go ahead, the ultimate test on this, I'm going to go ahead and slide the glass in there and make sure it fits. Excuse the amount of dust on this thing. This is actually not even the piece of glass I'm going to be using. I actually got voodoo glass. Let's see. Yeah, I'd say that looks pretty good. The other thing you're going to need is for the back. This is going to be screwed into here so that when it slides in, it's going to slide right into that slide. I don't have the screws yet. What I would recommend with buying screws, make sure you just buy new screws. I mean, you get like 100 pack from, Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever for like $5. And there is absolutely no, in my experience, there's no point in going through and buying or, shining up the used ones. The new ones always look better, and like, what's the difference except they're brand new. So you've spent this much on your project. If you've come up to this point and put so many hours into it, that shouldn't even be a question. So there we have it. That's all you got to do. One thing I'd like to talk about before we move on here is leg protectors. Now, if you're redecaling a machine like this and you've spent so much money and so much time doing a good job on this thing, do not use these things. These things are awful. And, I can't even believe they still sell these things. I think they're, in all fairness, I think they're okay for like early 80s and before that, where everything was directly screen printed. But the use of decals, these will wrinkle up the edges of your decals. No matter how new, no matter how well you've applied them, these are horrible. About the same price, you want to get these things. These are, Stern uses them on their current machines. These are, I just refer to them as the Stern leg protectors. So you can find them at Pinball Life. Usually they're like 12 to 15 bucks. You gotta have something like this, otherwise you're gonna ruin the corners of your of the thing that you just worked all that time on. What I do to install these things is I will actually put the plate on there, place it on there, put 2 bolts in there so I know exactly where the bolts are gonna go. Because the thing is that you can position this thing incorrectly where the bolts aren't gonna fit in there and you're gonna ruin even more. So what I like to do on this, I like to go ahead, and you do have to actually temporarily at least place the inner plates, like the leg plates in. So let's see, leave a little bit of space, kind of try to center your bolts. That's the best way to do it. And then what you're gonna do is drill just a small pilot hole for the screws. Your screws do come with the leg protectors, so you don't have to worry about sourcing those or anything like that. It's about as easy as can be. So you only have 2 holes right here. So what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and center and give myself a little bit of a starting place here. If you don't center it, it's going to be harder to get the screw in there, but that's all you do. Slap the screw in there, multiply that by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're done. Just a quick note, I almost made a super dumb mistake. A lot of times you're going to have 3 leg bolt holes, and the standards on the back are going to be the bottom. You're going to use the bottom 2 for the back, and then on the front, you're also going to use the bottom 2, unless you want the potentially slowest playing Twilight Zone in the universe. So now we're going to go ahead and install the new plunger. This is the old one. As you can see, it is aged poorly. You've got this back plate. If you're going to order a new plunger assembly, make sure you also order this back plate right here. Usually it's under the suggested recommended things for whatever you buy. I'm going to go ahead and reuse the screws in here. As you can tell, whoop, maybe there. Pretty grungy looking screw. So, considering the amount of work that we put into this thing already, we're going to have to fix that. Now, one of the things that's unique about Twilight Zone is the spring in the plunger, okay? It's it's the weakest spring. It's the brown spring. And I know you can find it at Pinball Life. I'm not sure where else you can find. But for Twilight Zone, you need the brown spring. Here's the new plunger. I went ahead and did the Powerball plunger. So this is what we got right here. Let me go show you how to clean these off. So in my experience, this is the easiest way to do it and the one that makes the most sense. Go ahead and just load up your screw in your drill and sandpaper or Scotch pad or whatever. Bingo, looks brand new. You can't really see it from there, but that's all you gotta do. So when you're putting these things back together, just know that you're probably going to have to adjust it once you get the playfield back in and everything. Most of the time, it's got a little bit of room here, so most of the time it's not gonna center up with the ball. It can go up and down, left and right. So you got all kinds of movement there. Just know that most likely you're probably gonna have to adjust that. If the shooter rod, you know, if you're trying to plunge the ball and it doesn't really go anywhere, it's not hitting the ball right. So that is a common thing that stumps a lot of people. So anyway, I've got my new plate. I've got my new looking screws. Go ahead and put the back plate on back here. I wonder if I can do that one-handed. All right, I'm gonna have to use a screwdriver on this. I was gonna use my drill, but I don't think that's gonna fit. So all you gotta do, there's 3 screws, one on the left, one on the right, one on the bottom. For now, let's go ahead and just get those things screwed right in. Bingo, for now, that's it. So just a review of what we've done here. We put on the side rails, which was, again, fairly easy. It's just double stick tape. Make sure you line it up with this bolt hole right here. There's not a way to put this on backwards because it is identical on both sides so that you can use it on either side. Remember, this type of protection right here, not the plastic ones. The plastic ones suck. I am very much against them. In fact, I'm gonna go toss the ones that I have in the trash so that I don't accidentally give them to somebody to ruin their beautiful project. We've got our plunger installed. I did go ahead and install a new extra ball light, the standard yellow, but I did switch. My friend, actually just recently, I helped him restore his Twilight Zone. He had tried blue for the start button, and instead of the standard yellow, I thought that was pretty cool. I can't remember if that was Pinball Life or if that was Marco Specialties, but it was one of the two. So exterior wise, I mean, that's pretty much what we got to do right now. Next stop is probably the coin door.